Good evening, everyone. Wanted to call the February 24th Lititz Borough Council meeting to order. First thing that we have on the agenda is the invocation, Mayor. Okay, no invocation tonight. We're on to number 2, the Pledge of Allegiance. If I please stand.
Flag.
So I'd like to inform everyone that we did have an executive session before this meeting to discuss a real estate matter. I believe you all have the January 27th minutes in front of you. Does anyone have any comments on those? And if not, do we have a motion to approve those?
God, I'll need to abstain because I was not at the meeting.
Okay,
Not that I don't agree with it, but I wasn't at the meeting.
sure. Thank you.
I'll move to approve.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. That passes. Next, we're going to move on to presentations. First, we have the Sergeant Weinhold swearing in. I'm going to look to Jerry to start us off on that one.
Sure, I'm glad to. So on January 20th, 2026, the chair of the Lititz Borough Civil Service Commission made a recommendation to the Personnel Committee for the promotion of a Lititz Borough police officer to the position of sergeant for the Lititz Borough Police Department. Now, the recommendation included a very important process, professional and thorough process to vet 3 internal candidates for this position. The vetting process included application form and included written interviews and also face-to-face interviews with a independent consultant. Out of that process, the process included results, scores from each of the 3 candidates. As a result of the scores, we were able to choose the highest scoring candidate for the position. So tonight we're here to recommend, or to not recommend, we're here to acknowledge the appointment of the new sergeant from the Lititz Borough Police Department.
Sergeant Tyler Weinhold was hired in 2016, a 10-year veteran of the Lititz Police Department. He holds an associate's degree in the criminal justice and graduated from the Harrisburg Area Community College Municipal Police Academy. In addition to his officer duties, he also serves as a field trainer officer and administers the field training for newly hired borough police officers. He also assists a drug recognition expert who is often requested to perform drug influence evaluations on drivers suspected of being impaired by drugs. Sergeant Weinhold has received numerous recognitions for outstanding performance in impaired driving enforcement, both at the county level and at the state level. He has been requested to assist complex drug-impaired driving investigations, both within Lancaster County and beyond. And he is qualified as an expert witness in the Lancaster County Court of Common Pleas, which allows him to give expert testimony when regarding drug-impaired driving cases. Most recently, Sergeant Weinhold was recognized by the Pennsylvania DUI Association for outstanding performance as a drug recognition expert, and was also acknowledged by the International Association of Chiefs of Police in their annual report. And a case study of one of Sergeant Weinhold's drug-impaired investigation is now part of a national curriculum used for training other officers seeking to become a drug recognition expert. Sergeant Weinhold has demonstrated his commitment to excellence in policing and has demonstrated leadership and performance, has received recognition both within the Lititz Borough Police Department and the broader law enforcement community. It's now my honor to administer the oath of office to Sergeant Weinhold. I, Tyler S. Weinhold,
I, Tyler S. Weinhold,
do solemnly swear
that
I, as Sergeant for the Lititz Borough Police Department,
as Sergeant for the Lititz Borough Police Department,
will support, obey, and defend
will support, obey, and defend
Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Pennsylvania Constitution
and the Pennsylvania Constitution
and the laws of Pennsylvania and the Borough of Lititz.
and the laws of Pennsylvania and the Borough of Lititz.
And I will discharge the duties of my office
And I will discharge the duties of my office
with fidelity.
with fidelity.
I will uphold, obey, and enforce
I will uphold, obey, and enforce
the law without consideration
the law without consideration
of a person's race, color, sex,
of a person's race, color, sex,
religious creed, sexual orientation,
religious creed, sexual orientation,
age,
Age.
national origin,
age, national origin,
ancestry, handicap, or disability.
ancestry, handicap, or disability.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Get Chief in here also.
That'd be okay if we can just get one picture of the agency. Can I ask all the agency members who are in attendance tonight to step up and just grab a quick picture of Sergeant Weinold? Or probably better.
You're all welcome to stay, but we will not be offended if you decide that you would like to do something else for the rest of your evening. We understand you have hectic, busy schedules. Yep.
Wow, he's got a big crowd here. I know. Can't believe they don't want to stay for the stormwater presentation.
It's nothing personal, Jordan. Okay, as we move on with the meeting, our next presentation is the annual stormwater program report by Jordan Garner.
Okay, so this is the annual report. This is mandated by our stormwater permit. So this is just some public education and involvement as part of our permit. So I'm just gonna go over some highlights of what we did in 2025 and some things moving forward for 2026 in the future. So since we have some new council members, I thought it'd be helpful to just give some background information on what MS4 is. So MS4 is a municipal separate storm sewer system. It's a network of infrastructure that collects and discharges water from a urbanized area and discharges it into a stream or river. So this network of infrastructure, these are your inlets, your stormwater pipes in the ground, your stormwater basins, your swales. So this network of infrastructure creates MS4. This discharge is separate from your sewer collection system, so you're not treating clean water. So it's an important part of our infrastructure. So the MS4 and stormwater management plan is managed by DEP, which fulfills the role to comply with the Clean Water Act. The Clean Water Act is a federal law to limit pollutants from entering the waterways. This was developed by EPA, and EPA acts as a oversight role. So part of having a MS4 permit, we also have a MS4 committee. This committee meets monthly. It consists of borough staff members, borough council liaisons, our consultants, and a volunteer from the public. So this committee, when they meet, they implement stormwater projects, review and implement aspects of the stormwater permit, and review any issues that arise with stormwater in the borough. So some other discussion points that I'm going to highlight here. I'm going to go over the stormwater management plan goals, summary of illicit discharge detection and elimination efforts. And coming up, we're going into a new MS4 permit. So there's going to be some changes, some things that are staying the same. So the implications with Warwick and Lititz as part of that. So highlighting the stormwater management plan goals. So for 2026, the minimum control measure plans, they have all been updated for the 2026 permit. So these minimum control plans, they include public outreach, which is MCM1. These are when we submit a fact sheet in your water, sewer, trash billings. When we send in an enforcement letter, it's just basic fact sheets to inform the public of MS4 and what they can do to help prevent pollution from entering our streams. MCM2 is public involvement and participation. That's this presentation. MCM3 is illicit discharge detection and elimination. MCM4 is construction site runoff control plan. MCM5, construction stormwater management plan, post-construction stormwater management plan. These are plans if a resident wants to do an addition, if there is a WISE wants to do an addition, they have to manage the new impervious surfaces that they are adding. So it's just they have to manage that water. And MCM6 is good housekeeping and operations, which goes into my next bullet point, which is the public works training. That is your MCM6. So each month, Public Works reviews SOPs on MS4. You have your MS4, your Public Works facility inspections. So these inspections entail making sure the general cleanliness of the facility, make sure there's no discharges leaving the site, and tracking debris and whatnot on the facility. So as part of those inspections, we also do a biannual audit of the facility. This audit is to ensure that we're keeping up with everything in the case of that we have a DEP or EPA audit. Fingers crossed we don't get one, but it's just we just try to be prepared. So this past year, wet weather outfall inspections were not completed. This can be a little challenging at sometimes because you need a significant rainfall event of 1 hour or more to flush the entire system. We also need to have the collection bottles from the lab. So it takes a little bit of planning, and the timing of a storm event can all impact that. So last year it didn't happen, but that is something that we want to continue doing in the future. Our annual report was submitted. Have not heard any feedback from DEP, but if there is any feedback, you guys will know. So summary of illicit discharge detection and elimination efforts. So just some things that happened last year. We had a grease trap violation at Chilungo's Mexican restaurant. We had an oil spill of olive oil from Oleo's behind us at Juniper Lane, and some yard debris dumping enforcement. This is all the MCM3, your illicit discharge detection and eliminations. All these are examples of level 1 enforcement. So these are just voluntary compliance. We send out the BMP fact sheet, so you're knocking out 2 of these MCM plants. So coming down the pipe, we actually are getting a new MS4 permit. It's currently in the draft phase from DEP, but we are learning more and more as we go along. So MCMs are remaining. MCM 1 through 5, minor changes. MCM 6, there was no changes. As part of previous permits and moving forward, you have to install projects to manage stormwater, and we get credited for these projects. In the previous permit cycle, it was a pollutant reduction plan. Moving forward is a volume management plan, but I'll go into that a little more later. We're on a 5-year permit cycle. Nothing's changing as for us as the borough. DEP wants to get all general permits and individual permits on the same permit cycle, but for us individually, it doesn't change. Now, the borough is a individual permit, but we are considered a joint individual permit with Warwick Township. So we're either one of the only one in the state or very limited of other municipalities that are like that. So we are a little different, but we will be on a 5-year cycle. So some things that have changed: the urbanized area. So the urbanized area from the 2020 census and is to be overlain with the 2010 census to develop new urbanized areas. So with this being overlaid, some urbanized areas were gained and some were lost, and it's the cumulative total which a municipality is responsible for. So you'll have to, with the new permit, it's volume management. So the urbanized area was what will determine the amount of volume that the borough and Warwick Township are required to manage. So now there is some changes. I know it says it changed, but the borough is a urbanized area and we're not really gaining much, not really expanding. So it's very limited on what could change. Like I said, we're a joint permit with Warwick Township, which is continuing to develop. So there could be some changes, but at this point, we don't know exactly what that's going to entail. So like I said before, our previous permit was a pollutant reduction plan. A volume management plan is in. DEP has developed a spreadsheet for determining how many cubic feet of volume a municipality is managed. This goes back to your urbanized area. So those two are tied in hand. So the volume management plan is required to be developed by September 2028 with 30 to 50% completion. So we will be working to develop that. At this point, like DP, they're developing that spreadsheet for what we got to do that is not released yet. So a lot of this, we're still waiting on information from DEP. So more things that have changed. So the volume management plan, we have to implement projects to capture volume. So some projects that capture volume, these are your stormwater basins, your floodplain restorations. And then previously for the PRP, street sweeping, stream bank restoration, and tree plantings, those were what was credited for your pollutant reduction plan. These have limited crediting opportunities, which is, we'll learn more, but street sweeping was something that we used heavily in the past. So streets is still going to be important, but we won't be able to be credited for it. And then collaboration with other municipalities is the fastest way to gain credits. We want to learn more from DEP for this as well, because that's what we have been doing with Warwick Township in the past. So if gaining credits through collaboration is the fastest, it's something that appears we're already doing.
Is that Mr. Carpenter in that street sweeper?
I think it was, yeah. So some highlights of the upcoming permitted year: continued investigation of outfall 119 and 120. This was highlighted in previous annual reports. Outfall 119, 120 is located on Lititz Run. It's two separate outfall pipes, but we were able to determine that it is one pipe that runs from Linden Hall and overflows into two once it gets to the stream. So it's one pipe rather than just with two outfalls. So, but we want to continue to investigate up north. Elijah actually field verified it and went up into the pipe. So hopefully he can
Literally?
go back up again.
Yeah, and I would have went further, but the gas monitor got some water in it, so we have to work out one that doesn't quite have the 10 feet of tubing that Public Works has.
So we'll be continuing public works training on a monthly basis. And we will be continuing post-construction stormwater management, best management practices with the property owners. So this is when someone say they do a addition, they have to they have to implement a stormwater facility. So each year, these residents, they receive a inspection form that I send out. They're required to return it with their inspection to ensure that their stormwater facility is operating as intended. So this past year, we had 80% return rate, which is really, really good. But we do have some people that don't return or don't do what they're supposed to do. So I will have to go out and self-inspect those. The MS4 committee, they are having discussions of maybe recommending to you guys about potentially implementing a fee to cover the staff time of the borough inspecting these private facilities. But that's for you guys to decide. And then continuing monitoring the new MS4 permit. That's all. Any questions?
Thank you. It was very informative.
It's really exciting.
Yeah, yeah.
I do have a question.
Okay.
Your wet weather outfall inspections that weren't completed. So is that something that we have to do within the 5-year cycle? Or was it mandatory?
That was part of the previous, I'm looking at you, Scott. That was part of the previous cycle, correct?
Sure. You have to show intentions of working
Yeah.
your way
Okay.
through it. There are very limiting criteria as to when you can do the testing. Like Jordan said, there has to be enough rain for a certain amount of time. It has to be at a time where you can take the samples to the lab. That's the limiting factor. The lab's only open from before. And if your rainstorm comes in the evening, you can't do it because the bottles expire. Some of the stuff that you're testing, I don't want to go into details of what for, but the bottles expire.
Okay.
So it's challenging. We had a fairly dry summer through fall this year, so it didn't get a lot of opportunity. The borough's well on their way, have done a lot of testing of those outfalls and been able to identify particularly those two that are kicking off some stuff that raised a couple of alarms. Any other questions from council members? No? Anybody in the audience that would like to address? Sir, could you come forward and say your name?
Yes, sir. Good evening, Council. Ken Mobley, 305 Front Street. Nice job. So we had 3 violations this past year. They look to be minor. Can you maybe share a little bit about how frequent we're seeing violations each year, and are they getting less serious over time with your work? And tell the committee thank you for their job.
Yes, so violations it can be 1 month, it can be nothing, and the next, a lot of times it's grass. That's the one that's very common. So it's sending it out to the property owner, like, hey, don't blow grass into the street. It gets into the storm inlets, gets into the street, increasing nitrates. So it's like the oleo spill, that's a rare, like that doesn't, knock on wood, shouldn't happen. Like we had a chocolate spill on Main Street. It's just
Could be worse things that spill on Main Street.
yeah, they happen. It's not all the time, but we work through them as we get them. But I would say compliance is really, I would say is good. Once someone gets a letter, we don't hear really back from them. So, and we don't see grass from them.
Could you maybe just touch on that? You mentioned level 1 and sort of enforcement, what that means, sort of the education being key.
Level 1 is, so that's just voluntary compliance. So if you blow grass out in your street, I'll send you a letter like, hey, please get the grass out of the street. You take the grass out of the street, we're good.
Yeah.
Level 2 is, I'd have to look up the details of what the level 2 and level 3 entail, but if you would like that, I can get those to you.
And the idea just being that we're trying to educate
Yes.
people. A lot of people don't know that blowing grass in the street is a problem. So the first interaction with it, like, hey, look, this is why we try and avoid doing that if we can.
Yes.
Yeah.
And leaves as well. Leaves should not go down the storm inlets. In fact, the only thing that should go down the storm inlets is
Water.
stormwater.
I'm
Yes.
curious about pools, though. I know we have a couple pools in the area. So when you're, I don't know, I don't have a pool, but I'm assuming you're draining it.
Yeah.
What is a,
So it should drain through like before you shouldn't take your hose and put your hose in the street. You're allowed to drain your pool, but it should filter through your grass before it
okay.
reaches the street. Like that is one of the SOPs that
What
we
level
can-
would that be at?
but
Somebody's caught doing that. Same still.
if it's their first time, it would be a level 1 enforcement.
Okay, okay, all right.
But one of the, like a pool SOP, that's something that we have that if we see that happening, that's something that we can send to the resident just to give them some education.
Power washing came up a couple of times too. Somebody'd show up and sort of bleach power wash a building, but that was some problem for a bit too.
And washout from concrete and saw cuts a while ago as well was kind of the culprit. So it seems like as we've done education to various contractors, they've kind of adjusted and it keeps coming back to grass.
How about all the salt we put on the streets for snow removal? How does that affect? the
That's
system?
You want me to take a stab
Yeah,
at that one?
if you want to, it's
Yeah, so just recently, there has been a lot of work done nationally around the impact of road salts on our streams. And Lititz Run, actually, there was a lot of testing done of streams in south central Pennsylvania. And if I remember correctly, Lititz Run had the highest level of salt in the streams. Now, there's a number of reasons that could be naturally occurring. However, that is what prompted us to put together the fact sheet that everybody should have just received in their bills recently about salting, good salting practices. Of course, when we've had as much ice and snow and freezing cold temperatures, there's a lot of salt out there right now. So the best thing that people can do right now is get out and sweep it up and dispose of it properly. Because otherwise, when rains come, it's going to just wash it down into the storm inlets. It's going to go into the stream and it's going to wreak havoc on the streams. So the salt that's on the streets, normally professionals, our public works department has a good understanding of what good application rates are, and they're not over salting. Salt's expensive, it's a lot of work to put it out there. So they are managing it very carefully, but sometimes we see more occurrences of the over salting from private property owners, honestly. So I would just say the best thing to do right now is get out there and sweep up the salt and reuse it if you need to. Save yourself some money. But the salt is really having an impact on our streams. And if you'd like some information, I'd be happy to pass that along if you want to take a deep dive into salt in the streams, Jerry. But yes, it is a problem, and particularly around here. And we've done a lot of work. We've invested a lot of money in restoring our Lititz Run. So it would be a shame to see it be all for naught with oversalting.
Thank you. Any other questions from the public? No? Okay. Thanks a lot, Jordan.
Thank you, Jordan.
Look
Good job.
forward to seeing you in a year. Okay, we're gonna move on to ordinances. Ordinance 623 is a dumpster ordinance. I don't know if the chief or Elijah wants to speak to that. Your both names are both there.
So-
Neither of you?
I can start. So this is essentially a way for the police department to manage the deployment of dumpsters and the portable storage units on borough streets. So
Do you have anything you'd like to add, chief?
Just had a few quick points. Currently, there's no regulatory process in place for dumpsters to be placed on the street. Oftentimes, we discover them as a surprise as we're patrolling through town. Some of the feedback that we've gotten from Public Works is they're starting to notice that it's damaging the road surface if it's not put down with some sort of barrier or sheet of plywood or something below it. this ordinance would essentially just ensure that we know where the dumpsters are being placed, ensure that they're being placed safely with reflective markings or some other way to indicate it to approaching traffic. It also takes into consideration if there would be a scenario that a dumpster would be requested to be put in the downtown district where there's parking meters to account for the impact that would have both in terms of the meters and then the business community. And again, just making sure that we know that these dumpsters are placed safely and have some awareness upstream before they're put and become a safety hazard.
Thank you. Any questions from council regarding this ordinance?
I do have a quick question. On item 4G, it says the permittee shall provide a copy of the hauler certificate of insurance as well as proof of their own liability insurance. And it has homeowners insurance in brackets there. I'm wondering if this is going to be a barrier for renters who might need to secure a permit for dumpster placement. Have we considered that? And sorry, I didn't get a chance to bring this up in committee. But would renters insurance, which a lot of renters do get renters insurance and should get renters insurance, but any thoughts on how that might, whether that would be a barrier?
So I'm not an insurance agent by any means, but
Really?
I'm pretty sure that the renter's insurance only covers your possessions inside
possession. Right.
your rental.
Mhm.
So the rentor would need to coordinate with their landlord.
With their landlord.
To get it then,
Yeah.
which they should
Okay.
do anyway. I would think it's going to be in front of the landlord's property or on.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to bring that up as a potential barrier. So, okay.
Any other questions? Any questions from the audience on ordinance 623? No? We'll look for a motion to approve ordinance.
I move that ordinance number C 623, an ordinance for the Borough of Lititz to provide for the regulations of dumpsters and portable storage units in the borough.
Motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Tanea. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much. The next is ordinance 624. I believe we're tabling that till next month. Do we need to take any action to table that or just
No,
put it
just
to the
table.
side? We will review that hopefully at the March meeting. Ordinance 625 is the 2026 water and sewer rate change. Rob?
Yeah, this is the ordinance that just follows up from the presentation from last month. Would go into effect, the 2.5% increase would go into effect on the March 10th billing.
Thank you. Any questions from council on this ordinance? No? Any from the audience? No? Look for a motion to approve ordinance 625.
I move to approve ordinance 625, instituting a 2.5% rate increase on water and sewer fees in the borough.
Thank you. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we're going to move on to resolutions. Resolution 1025, the sale of a GMC bucket truck. Rob?
Yeah, so this was a follow-up from the capital purchase that Public Works made at your January meeting. They purchased a new bucket truck and now would like to sell the one we currently have on municipal bid.
Any questions on that?
I just have a question about the $2,000. Is that like the reserve fee?
The
Or is it
2000
reserve rate on it?
we don't have a reserve on it. The $2,000 is the minimum threshold for the borough code that a publicly owned asset to be sold via advertisement, municipal bid, things like that.
Do we have any idea what we might get, or is that even?
We're going to start the bidding at 5,000.
Okay.
The Public Works team did some research on it.
Okay.
And just like an auction, you just hope for more and more bids.
I like that. The information you just gave is what I was looking for, though. Thank you.
Any other questions from council? Questions from the audience on the sale of the bucket truck? No. Looking for a motion to approve resolution 1025.
Motion to approve resolution 1025 for the sale of the GMC bucket truck.
Thank you. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, moving on to resolution 1026, Norfolk Southern Right-of-Way Grant. Elijah?
Yes, so this is a grant that would enable us to apply to DCNR in the amount of an appraised value for the Norfolk Southern right-of-way. So this doesn't guarantee it, but it just authorizes us to submit.
Thank you. Another exciting step in this process. Any questions on that resolution? No? Anyone in the audience? No? Wonderful. Looking for a motion on resolution 1026.
I'll move to approve resolution 1026, granting authority to begin to apply for the grant for the Norfolk Southern right-of-way.
Thank you very much. We have a motion. Do I have a second?
Aye.
Close enough. All those in favor?
Second.
Opposed?
Aye.
Okay, passes. Yeah. We got, you're on the pause.
I'm on yes.
Yes, okay.
Sorry, I'm getting all confused.
So that was unanimous, right?
Yes, it was. Okay, next, we're gonna move on to the consent agenda. I believe we have one comment on that.
Yes, I would like to ask that the wastewater treatment plant conveyor bid acceptance be pulled from the consent agenda.
Okay, any other comments on the consent agenda? No, anyone in the public have any comments on the consent agenda? No? Look for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Move to approve the consent agenda.
So, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Now we would look to discuss the wastewater treatment plant conveyor bid acceptance.
I'll defer to Rob on that one, if you can just speak to why we're delaying the
Yeah, to
consideration.
the bid price came in about $17,000 higher than budget. So we just wanted to talk about the details behind that at the Water and Sewer Committee before coming to council.
Therefore, I would move to table the wastewater treatment plant conveyor bid acceptance. Just make a note that this is not going to delay the project implementation. So,
So we had a motion to table. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
aye.
Okay, we tabled wastewater treatment plant conveyor bid acceptance for this month. Okay, we're through consent agenda. Next is the treasurer's report. Back to Rob.
Yeah, hard copies were at each person's desk. You can see there that with our expenses and our revenues, we have plenty of cash to pay all of our invoices for the month of February. There's nothing to report that's out of ordinary for any of the funds that you see listed there.
Does anyone have any questions for Rob on the report? No? Anyone in the audience have any questions on the finance report this month? No? I'd look for a motion to approve the treasurer's report.
Motion to approve treasurer's report?
Second,
All those in favor?
aye.
Opposed? Good. Okay, next we're moving on to the council members forum. First item is to finish up what we started last month with council appointments to committees and liaisons. We have Venture Lititz and Lititz Regional Community Development. We did have some discussions on that, and the Regional Community Development Committee would be Councilperson Meck, and the Venture Lititz representative would be Councilperson Gaddis. Does anybody have any questions on that, or perhaps on any of the assignments from last month? No? Okay. I don't think we need to vote on that. We were just making that official, making it public. Next, we are looking at subcommittee report on personnel and benefits.
Yes, I'm glad to report tonight that I'm introducing J. Michael Flanagan for an appointment to the Lititz Borough Authority. Michael retired as a lawyer in March of 2024. He has served as a Manheim Township Commissioner and on the Municipality Authority. He has also served on the Lancaster Conservatory Board and on the Lititz Farmland Trust. He is very interested in water conservation issues and has toured both the Lititz Borough water and waste treatment facilities. I have met with Michael on numerous occasions to discuss his interest in serving on the authority, and I am confident that he will bring value to the authority. So I would like to make a motion to appoint J. Michael Flanagan to the Lititz Borough Authority for a 5-year term effective February 1st, 2026.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Michael is here. Anything about your interest in water and sewer?
If you can come up to the mic so people online can hear you. Sorry to take your job.
You did a good job, though.
Okay, thanks.
When you tell anybody that you're interested in water and sewer, they kind of walk away and find somebody else to talk to. But it's something that is incredibly important. And I think we all saw last week in the Potomac, something bad happened. And I don't know if that could have been prevented or not. But people take it for granted, and hopefully we can continue to make them take it for granted. I've got a meeting scheduled with Rob in about 2 weeks to get a primer on the authority, and thanks for the appointment. And I've been a resident here for about 6 years now, and it's still the greatest small town in the United States of America.
Thanks for your willingness to volunteer. It's appreciated.
Yeah, and I just want to give a word of thanks to Manheim Township for doing the training. Now we've got you when you're all trained up and ready to go, moving up in the world.
So, Chairman, I just wanted to point out that the committee members, the council members have received a copy of the committee appointment process. Over the past couple of years, we have really worked hard at vetting people to become members of committees. We have a very formal process in place, and it's worked out well. One of my challenges now is that I have more people who have volunteered than I have assignments for. So we're trying to discuss how we might keep people involved in that process. So from my perspective, thank you to the public for volunteering your time to serve in all these committees. I really appreciate it. It's been a pleasure working with people and meeting with people, hearing about their interest and their commitment to this community. It's one of the things that makes Lititz special. So thank you for your participation.
Hey, thank you for that report.
Can I just add a comment on that?
Sure.
I concur. It has been wonderful to see all of the volunteer applications, and Jerry and I had talked about this before we joined council about our mutual goals of really trying to engage more people in our boards and commissions, and appreciate the many years of service that some people in the room have provided. And I guess I just want to suggest that if there are organizations in the community that could benefit from some additional volunteers, let us know, because there may be a way that we could pass some of these names along and at least recommend to these people other places where their volunteer efforts may be of value. We are only one of many organizations that make up this community and keep it thriving. So I think, Jerry, would you be willing to have them
Absolutely
reach out to you if they have a need for volunteers or willing to take them? And I think Fire and Ice is a perfect example of where it took a lot of hands to make that work. The park takes a lot of hands to make that work. So lots of ways to make a difference in the community.
Okay, thank you very much. Next, we're going to move on to reports by the mayor and the chief of police.
Thank
Mayor?
you, President Hain. I actually have 3 items I'd like to report on tonight, and Mary, you gave me a perfect segue.
Okay.
So, this past month, I had an opportunity to meet with the Rotary, the Kiwanis Club, the Ambucks, and Lititz Lions. There's a common theme that has emerged for all 4 of those civic organizations, and that's the need for volunteers. These folks do incredible work, everything from the craft show, the pretzel fest, the chocolate walk, supporting community ambulance, 4th of July parade, Halloween parade, car cruise. It goes on. So many of these events that identify Lititz, gives us our character, are in jeopardy. I have no way to say it. They're in jeopardy. We have an aging population of volunteers. These clubs are struggling to find people who are willing to commit to community service. So I'm putting a plea out there, just following exactly what we just heard, that these organizations need folks to step up and volunteer and help out if we want these events to continue in this community. I think the answer is we do. But so I'm going to try to use my efforts to call attention to this and bring people an opportunity to find ways to help this community out through any one of these organizations because they certainly need the help.
So they should call you instead of Jerry?
I'm happy to do that, but either one. I don't want to take Jerry's thunder by any means. But my phone's always available, so yeah, either way. Second item, I had an opportunity to meet with the superintendent and assistant superintendent of the Warwick School District. We're actually hoping to revitalize the junior council program. It's been a little dormant there for the last few years, so we want to bring it back. Unfortunately, so little time left in the school year, not going to happen for this spring. We have already posted on the website process or application request for students in the Warwick School District to apply, to give them an opportunity to have a student voice or a youth voice on the council, but also to gain valuable experience in local government, and perhaps someday they too will be a local government leader. So we're going to start that program again, but we're going to start in August, and the term is going to run for a full year from August to June, and we'll be working with the school district to identify applicants. But if you're aware of anyone out there, please spread the word, share it with folks on social media, have them go to the Lititz Borough website, and the timing of the application for next year, we've not posted that yet. I'm working with the school district. We want to coincide it with student council and well as school board representative. So the students have opportunity for multiple leadership opportunities to apply for. I'm waiting on the school district to give me a date when that's going to occur. But that'll be happening fairly soon.
Mayor, I've just a couple questions about that. Having tried over the last 2 years to get some applicants for that position, does the person need to be a resident of Lititz Borough?
So it's a great question. As we were seeking applicants for the remainder of this school year, that's exactly how we wrote it. However, in having conversation with the school district, we think we're going to revise that to have any resident of the school district. Doesn't mean they have to go to school district. They can go to Lititz Christian or any of the private schools or homeschool, as long as they're Warwick School District residents. However, priority will be given to Lititz Borough residents.
Okay. And is there a age, or do they need to be a junior or senior?
Junior or senior.
Okay, thank you.
A 1-year term.
And thank you for getting that moving again. I think it's a really important program, and glad to see you working towards getting that moving again. Thank you.
Hopefully we'll get some qualified candidates to present to you.
Yep.
The last item, last month there were questions about the status of the SRO with the school district. I had opportunity to engage in those conversations as well. These are complex issues, and in order to do this right, lots of planning has to occur. The school district had a deadline of trying to have this issue resolved. We're not able to meet that deadline. These negotiations are far too complex, too many issues to work out. So because of the complexities, there will be no longer any negotiations for having an SRO for the 2026-27 school year. However, we will continue to have conversations with the school district about the possibility of 27-28. Of course, no decisions have been made, but I will announce that for the coming school year, there will be no borough-employed SRO for the school district. Happy to take any questions from the audience.
I'd just like to add a comment. As you all have heard me say, I was working as part of the the team to help move this to a position where we had something viable to bring to council. And yes, it is a complex issue. However, I'm very disappointed that our neighboring municipalities and the school district were willing to put an undue burden on the borough of Lititz residents and taxpayers. And I hope that there is some further consideration to given to that, because I think that was really that was an unfair ask of the borough residents. And I hope that in the coming year, if this comes back up, there will be more thought given to what's expected of the Lititz taxpayers.
Well, you certainly identified one of the complexities. And so that's one of the hurdles that certainly was in place, as other hurdles as well. So again, no further negotiations for the coming school year. The door will be kept open we'll continue to talk. But those talks are on pause now to fall.
Thank
And
you
I know
for,
Officer, I'm sorry, Chief wanted to follow up with as well.
and your report's next? Yeah. Yep. So, are there any questions for the mayor regarding his report this evening? From either the council or the audience? No? Okay. Next, we're on to the chief's report for the month.
A couple of quick items. I'll start by just piggybacking on what the mayor had indicated. I think it's important just to state to council, to the residents, and it's already been communicated back to the school, that regardless of an SRO or not, that's irrelevant to the point that we have always committed, and I have reaffirmed our commitment to the school district to be the best partners of public safety to them, to the campus, to the students, to the teachers, regardless of what that model looks like. So that doesn't change. We're very fortunate that we collaborate with the school district very frequently on a lot of different issues. I'm confident in saying that we're a partner to the district, and the SRO piece aside doesn't change the commitment that we've made to the school district. So I think it's important for that to be said. You know, the SRO doesn't mean that the service to the district is going to be anything but what we've been giving them in the past. So I wanted to reiterate that. The next item, obviously, we kicked off the meeting with the promotion of Sergeant Weinhold. I just want to take a moment to acknowledge Mr. Terry Duffin, who's in the room. He is the chairperson of the Civil Service Commission. The Civil Service Commission is charged with a lot of different employment type responsibilities and oversight, hiring, promotions, discipline, etc. It ensures that there's civilian involvement, civilian oversight into the hiring practices, the promotional practices. It ensures that we are aligned with what the community wants in our hiring decisions, in our promotional decisions. They don't get a lot of credit for what they do, and I just think it's important to recognize that Terry and the rest of the commission do put a lot of work in. It's oftentimes, you know, behind the scenes, and it's not always, you know, very juicy and attractive, but it's a necessary thing to ensure that they have an active role in these decisions. So I just wanted to thank him.
Thank you for your service.
And then the last item I was going to mention, I wanted to follow up because I recognize last month there were a string of overnight burglaries that affected part of the town. It really concerned a lot of the residents who live in that community. Certainly not something they experience every day. I wanted to report back on this because I recognize it caused a lot of discussion within the community. I'm happy to report that the 3 people who were responsible for those series of burglaries have all been identified and apprehended. So I think it's important to highlight that in case anybody in the community may not be aware of that piece. You know, it was an opportunistic thing that occurred, that they kept going back to this closed business several times over the course of a week. We're able to identify them. Like I said, they have been brought before the court, and their cases are in different stages of the court process. One thing I want to highlight with that, what's important, and I don't want to get too detailed about the investigative means and methods that led to that, but It highlights the importance of good community relationships and the community's trust in their police department to come forward and share information that they have and to collaborate with the police department to identify people or provide information that might be helpful to get a case from the investigative stage to the point that we have the cause necessary to bring justice to those people. So that was the overarching theme that I wanted to cover with that as well. Is it highlights the benefit of those existing community relationships that we have. So outside of that,
Thank
any
you.
questions I'd be happy to answer.
I have one question about the parking meters. I remember a few months ago you talked about the there was a QR code maybe that was going to be unlocked. Is that something that is available yet, or?
We're still looking at options, whether it's additional build outs of the current system that's in place or looking at some sort of alternative delivery of parking service to the downtown. I think I don't want to speak for other people who have a voice in this, but I would say before throwing more time, effort, and money into the existing meter system, I think it's worth having some due diligence to look at if there's other options that would be a better fit for the community before we commit to that one path. So that option does exist, but I would think it'd be premature to commit to it now until we've exhausted some other research.
Okay, I just had a complaint about, I guess it's still not reading the credit cards properly, and they didn't have any quarters, so they got a ticket.
Yeah, and there's some nuance to it. I heard some feedback that somebody tried to tap their card and they couldn't get it to go through. Well, they don't accept tap. So, some percentage of it is user error, but the other percentage of it is the processing mechanism of the credit card. So it's a combination of different factors.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, Streets and Traffic is in the process of looking at some other options to bring back to councils how we might be able to address the concerns that the visitors and residents and merchants have had with the current system. So actively working on it. Oh,
Chief, I didn't give you an opportunity to talk a little bit more about the process we use to appoint this sergeant. You might want to say more about that. And again, I want to thank Chairman for his involvement in that process. We work together between the Civil Service Commission and the Personnel Committee. So you might want to say a little bit more how we professionalize that process.
Well, first, I think I would start by saying that it's important to call out this was not a build out or an expansion of the leadership team. It was basically just backfilling the first level supervisory position that I had vacated when I was promoted to chief. So with this, it provides a full complement of our supervisory team that was in place for many years. It ensures adequate scope and coverage of supervision on the street for our patrol officers. To Councilmember Meck's point, generally we're bound by civil service regulations as far as what the promotional process looks like, what it entails. There is leeway to function within those guardrails to make the process what we want it to be. So, we had a process in place for several years that it worked, but we started to recognize that there were some challenges and shortcomings with it that we wanted to overcome. So with that, what we wanted to do was to build out a process that identifies the best leadership talent and potential within the department, who's ready, who's developed to that point, who's ready to take it to the next level, but then also to make sure that those elements that we're looking for in a promotion embody what the community expects of their police department. So this was a revamped written examination. It was a revamped oral board examination. It was customized by a team of police executives from across the Commonwealth who met with us ahead of time to determine what are the priorities of Lititz, because policing Lititz Borough is a lot different than policing other communities. And if you try to take a standard systemized test and force it through to different communities, you may not necessarily align to what those communities want. So what we were looking for was to identify the candidates who best aligned with both the department's vision of leadership moving forward, but then also what the communities expressed to us as far as what they envision in leadership. So it included elements of community-oriented policing, officer health, officer wellness, officer resiliency, different leadership traits, critical understandings of policy and procedures, and wrapping that all up into a process to identify a pool of people to then make the selection who we collectively felt was the best choice for that role. So again, had a lot of vetting from both from the subcommittee of personnel from council, the office of the mayor, civil service, the leadership within the agency, the police officers association union, to make sure that everybody was buying into the process and saw value in what we were trying to accomplish.
One of the unique things about that process is that the police officers who were not chosen had some feedback about how they did and what things they could do to improve their opportunities for the future. I think that's really a nice part of this new process. So someone who does not get the position is just not left hanging out there and wondering why. There's support for that moving forward. So thank you to you and your team for professionalizing this appointment process.
One of the things I try to stress as much as I can within the agency is leadership's at every level. Leadership and rank are not always the same thing. So, any ability to enhance the system, and regardless of whether or not somebody is selected for a position or not, that very next day, they're still our employees, right? They're still our police officers patrolling these streets. They're still the future leaders of the department. So ensuring that even those people who did not get the promotion through this process still obtain some professional development that will take them to the next level of their career is one of those, I think, intangible values that you can't always capture in different systems. So thank you for that.
Jared, I had the opportunity to, or took the opportunity to go to the high school the other day for their Brave the Dark community event, which I want to encourage people to go to next year if you didn't get there. It's a wonderful event with a lot of organizations tabling around the services that are available in the community, and had the opportunity to speak with one of your officers there, Andy Weinholt, and is it Weinholt?
I believe Sergeant Heiss was there too.
He was not there at the time that I
Okay.
was there, but yeah, just had a great opportunity to talk to him, and just really appreciate the force and the opportunity to to get out to an event like that. And again, in light of the relationship with the school district, I just wanted to share that because we are there and we are partners. And so, yeah, just appreciated that.
Sure, thank you.
I'd rather encounter them there than somewhere else.
Hey, thank you very much for your report this evening.
Thanks.
Okay, next we have reports by the managing directors. Rob, would you like to go first?
Sure. So just two things that were not included in your report. Our audit field work with Brown Plus completed last week. There's a few outstanding items, but we're still on target to submit to DCED by the end of March. And I also started doing some due diligence on an alternative group purchasing vendor and contract. So more to come on that, but just want to let you know those are the two things not in your report.
Thank you for the information. Elijah?
Thank you. For my monthly runabout line update, we still don't have a construction management agreement from Norfolk Southern. However, we did receive outreach from a real estate contact to begin the negotiation for the right-of-way, which would be contingent upon the rest of Norfolk Southern's sign-off. So we're going to start getting the ball rolling on that so that when the runabout line is complete, the acquisition can go pretty smoothly. One other thing I wanted to share, as Jerry sort of alluded to, the new notification system from the website is incredibly effective. Mary and Jerry asked me to put out a notice for volunteers, and I think I had 12 by the end of the day. So it is one thing that is a very effective tool. I don't want to use it too often so that people don't unsubscribe from it. We first used it during the snow emergency, and I didn't hear anything until my neighbor said, "That was great. I'm so glad you provided those updates." So it is something that I think our previous website aspired to, but it never really worked well. But this is something that anyone that signs up, we can get basically an email notification. So if it's something that is kind of a high importance, time sensitive, I would encourage using it, but we're not going to spam everyone's inboxes. Lastly, we actually were contacted by a PennDOT consultant to encourage us to apply for a transportation upgrade grant. They submitted a scoping form on our behalf, which was accepted, and they're going to assist us with doing the application in March. And this would be updating the transportation signals in town for their detection systems. Any
Great.
questions?
Wonderful, thank you.
Thank you.
Next on our list, petitions, correspondence, and questions. Are there any comments or questions from the public this evening? Anyone online? Bob's looking, no one online? Okay, before, oh, we got one, sorry. Sure, just come up to the mic and state your name and address.
Hello. Sorry, I'm nervous. My name's Chris McGinn. I live on 131 North Cedar Street, but it's clearly. I just wanted to follow up. I had sent Mr. Yerrick an email, I believe, about the amount and the volume of traffic and the speed of traffic on North Cedar Street. I wasn't sure if this was an appropriate time to say anything or whatnot, but it is politely very unpleasant. There are times where I come home from work and I'm just like, I have to leave my house because I don't want to live on a 2-lane highway. It's not, and I'm not trying to complain, and I don't have a solution because I'm not smart enough for that. So I figured I could perhaps get it addressed, or you could tell me what I could do to move things forward. Because I think I would invite every one of you to come stay in my house from 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. and tell me that's acceptable. Also, people just rip down that road at night in like 60 miles an hour sometimes.
Sure. Yeah, thank you for the feedback, and I think that was received, and I think there might have been some discussions. Would you possibly be able to address some of those? Sure, that would be great if you could, Chief.
With respect to the speed piece, there is a speed box in that block already. So we had the ability to collect some data that already existed. So there was a recent data capture in that block which showed the breakout of speeds, and 2.8%, so just under 3% of the vehicles were at or above a speed that we can legally enforce. So I think it's important to recognize that there is, with the way the law is written, we have to give, 10 miles per hour above the speed limit before we can issue a citation. So that 2.8% represents the percentage of vehicles traveling through that at above that threshold. Certainly there's other traffic calming measures that can be done in the meantime, certainly setting up high visibility enforcement, making sure that officers are present in that block. Seeing a patrol car parked on the side of the road there certainly has usually a deterrent effect to, if people are going faster than they should, to slow it down. We did look at that intersection too a couple months back when there was a question about the need for a stop sign in that block, a four-way. We went back through several years worth of data and had 0 crash events in that block, in that intersection. So certainly not minimizing any concerns. I just wanted to give some context and provide the data that already exists as to the speed piece of that concern.
As far as enforcement, there's not a lot of places for you to sit to actually get there.
I'm glad you
What's
said
the
that,
word?
because Pennsylvania is the only state in the nation that does not permit the use of radar by municipal police. So what we have to do then is find a stretch of road with 200 feet of visibility that we can sit in the middle of, mark 2 lines at either end of the point of visibility, and literally use a stopwatch to clock people. Now, yes, it's accurate, but it's also, there is room for human error, which I presume is why the legislature built in that buffer. So anytime this conversation comes up, I always urge people to contact their state level legislatures to advocate for the modern tools that we could need, because we hear similar concerns, not just in this block, but in other blocks around town too. And we have similar geographical and technological limitations that prevent the true enforcement of speed in certain areas. So yes, the high visibility is good. It has a purpose. It does slow people down. But when it does come to the point that we need to escalate beyond that to an enforcement effort, and the education and everything else has not been sufficient to address the issue, we are in some areas at a limited benefit to how effectively we can enforce the speed. So people that do have that concern, again, I would certainly strongly suggest contacting your state level legislatures and expressing your concern and your support for any radar bills that would give us the modern tools that we need to address the problem.
Is that speed that you said you put out, is that there permanently? Is it just temporary? That's the one you move around?
So we can move it around. I mean, we have moved the boxes around at different points in time, at different points in town, based off of either, you know, if we've observed certain increases in crashes, or if a community member comes forward with a complaint about their block, to try to get what the data is, because we want to make data-driven decisions if we're talking about re-engineering, you know, traffic control or deploying patrol resources. We want to make sure that we're understanding the true scope of the problem. What this is, there a specific time of the day? Is there a specific day of the week? And we can collect that data, and that helps guide our decision making.
Jared, is that a 25 posted speed on that section? And is there parking on one side of the street or both sides there?
And it's a narrow street, you know,
Right.
there's parking just on one side of it, so
Right.
it does.
And there's a curve in the street
Right,
there
and-
too, so it's surprising that people could, but I live on South Cedar, so I see it all the time.
And a lot of I'd say almost all the residents on that stretch of Cedar have zero setback from the sidewalk.
Mhm.
Because you don't have a 20 or 30-foot setback of grass from the sidewalk to the front door.
Yeah.
Most of those homes, their front door is literally right at the edge of the sidewalk.
So one of the tools is that you could provide some more visibility of your officers in that area to see if that,
Yeah, and we
Could help.
direct that both pursuant to complaint-driven issues that come forward to us, and then any observations that we make on our own. So we can certainly follow up with our patrol team. We've been in that block before, and you know, we can certainly readdress the high visibility piece of it.
sure. One of the things you mentioned was the stop control at Cedar and New, and that was looked into, and there's certain criteria that have to be met in order to put that in. And speed control isn't a criteria for putting in a stop sign. We can't say we want to slow down speeding and put a stop sign in. That doesn't address it. You look, there weren't the crashes, there's warrants that have to be met. We weren't able to look at that as an option for there. And there is a negative side to putting in stop sign too. When we looked at doing that, some of the residents were opposed to that stop sign because the additional noise, I believe, that it might create, having that stop and start of traffic in that neighborhood. So for everybody that wants the stop sign, there's somebody that doesn't want it, and it's a complicated topic. And managing the volume, I don't know how I think our hands are tied a little bit as far as managing the number of cars on that roadway. I don't know of a way to do that.
No, I mean, I don't know how you'd stop people from
Since a public road.
driving up the street, right? I mean, certainly I think you could put features into effect as far as engineering, if it's appropriate, the visibility of the enforcement and the presence of the police, but I don't know that it necessarily has any control or impact on volume.
Yeah. Yeah, there's always two sides. If you try and put some of the traffic calming measures in place, they take away parking, they take away some of the other things that are very important to the people on those streets. It's a very difficult issue. We really do appreciate your concerns and appreciate you coming and talking to us about it. And we'll try, the chief will talk to his officers and see if they can get out there a little bit more. Talk to your legislator, see if you can get their ear about radar. That would make a big difference. They'd be able to change the way they do enforcement of speed within the borough significantly if that was an option that was provided to them. So thank you very much.
Sure.
Do we have any other comments this evening from the public? No? Before we close this evening, I wanted to, sorry.
I'm here because I just want to bring it to the attention of the.
Could you just state your name and address,
I'm
please?
sorry, yes, John Koch, and I live over in Manheim. But my grandchildren, and I have 9 of them, live here in Lititz. And many times I'm sitting on the stoop on the porch and we're watching the traffic. It's unbelievable. I'm talking about the new street, the new street park, and it's just that one street, and they come flying down the street. Unfortunately, there's well, the situation is they've got a music school on one corner, and the park is right there, and the children cross over that street. Cars come flying down. Now, the only thing I noticed that there was no speed signs, and it's a two-way street. Unfortunately, it's a hill, so they do come down, and when they come down mighty fast. And there are no signs for children, children at play. So I'm hoping that maybe the township could do something, because it's really gone bad.
Are you more specifically talking about New Street or Locust Street? Do you know?
New Street.
New Street, okay.
Street, yeah.
Has I don't know that New Street's been brought up to our attention in that area before, but no.
Yeah, unfortunately, they come flying down that street. I was down there yesterday, I'm not that I'm not a policeman, so I'm just sitting there, I'm watching my grandchildren, and they come flying down that street about 40, at least 40 miles an hour. It's some of them, not everybody, of course, but, and it is a hill. It's a two-way street. It's, I see the kids crossing. I've yelled at some of the kids. I know all the children on the block, for that matter, pretty much. And, we try to protect them, try to keep them as safe as I possibly could, but I'm not a policeman. I'm not their father, but I try to do the best I can. I'm surprised it hasn't been brought to the attention of the township, as of yet.
Sure. We can look at the signage that's out there, if there are sort of playground signs or something like that that we might be able to help put in. I think enforcement in that area would be really challenging, other than up at the top of the hill would probably be one of the only spots where you could even sit to do any kind of enforcement there, but sure. Yep, we'll take a look at it and see. The chief will make sure that we take a look at that and see if there's anything we can do to help with that.
I think maybe if it's possible, I think a speed bump would really do the job. That would be a great thing. There are absolutely no signs that children at play, zero.
Sure. Okay, that's definitely something we'll take a look at.
Okay.
Okay. Hey, thank you for coming out tonight.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. I mentioned before we move on, I would like to pass the mic over to Councilperson Meck to speak to our guiding principles.
Yeah, I just wanted to remind everybody, on your agenda at the bottom, there are some guiding principles that we adopted in March of 2024. I just wanted to point out to you that we still have those in play. Guiding principles are fundamental core values that act as a compass for decision-making, setting standards for behavior and strategy. They are high-level statements that define how the Lititz Borough Council will operate. So I'll just share what these are. They're on your agenda, and we have a copy of them up here. First of all, we will be open and transparent in our actions and communications. We will safeguard public resources and are fiscally responsible. We use data-driven approach to evaluate Lititz Borough services and improve our response to community needs. We collaborate with community partners to address issues of mutual concern, and we are a forward-looking council that anticipates opportunities and trends that will transform our community. So I just wanted to highlight those again, particularly for the new council members and for the public to know that these are our guiding principles. And I have examples of things that pertain to those, but I see the time is up. But we can continue to work with those as we go forward.
Sure. Hey, thank you for going over those for the new council members and for the public that's here this evening. I think those are great points that we want to keep in front of us and keep aware of as we go through our actions from month to month. Does anyone else have anything to say this evening? No? Looking for a motion? Oh, we got one.
Yeah, I don't know if Mary and Jerry, we had talked about an ad hoc committee for negotiating the rec center and WRs. So I guess, do we need your blessing, Scott, to form that? Or is that just something we can do on our own?
Yeah, so we have a number of agreements that are coming due this year, multi-municipal agreements, contracts with vendors. I did see in my packet that staff has put together a list of all of those. And so, if it would be okay, what I can do is, work with the chairman and come up with a proposal to present next month for how we proceed and get some staff input on scheduling those activities, because we've got a lot of work to do this year in that way. So if that's okay, I think that's probably the best way. And yeah,
Better than what I had.
in committee, and we were Brad and I did attend the Warwick Regional Rec Commission meeting last week, and yeah, some conversation there about the renewal of the agreements. I believe our agreement with WESC is due for renewal this year. It expires at the end of this year, I believe. So we've got a number of those to work through. So, Mr. Chairman, I would suggest that maybe you and I work together to come up with a planned approach for how to handle those. And
Yeah, I think it's great that everybody's looking forward and trying to make sure these don't sneak up on us. And I think a good first step was what staff was able to put together was a list of all of those, for us. We are in good position, I think time-wise, but if we do take that step in next month, we can come back and have some recommendations on how we're going to address the most pressing of those as we move forward.
Yep.
So, yeah, thanks for bringing that up.
So Scott, that does fit one of our guiding principles. We are a forward-thinking council.
there you go.
He was just setting you up with that one, wasn't he? Okay, I think I had somebody ready to make the next motion.
The motion to adjourn.
Thank you.
Do we need a second?
Oh, second. I was in favor. Nobody's going to oppose that.
Aye.
You.